Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and we have another comparison. This time we've done a smash beer, but the variable is the single malt. Yes, this was a request from many years ago. It was put on the list. We finally got to the list. And this was a request to test out the Mecca Grade malts that you can get from Northern Brewer. I decided that I'd brew up two different beers, same recipe, same quantity, same hops, same water, same yeast, but the only thing that would change is the base malt. So we have one beer with Rahr, standard 2-row pale malt, which came from our friends at BSG. And then I bought a couple of pounds from Northern Brewer. This is the Mecca Grade American Pale Malt. And this is an American Pale Ale. Cascade hops, some at the beginning of the boil, some at the very end. We used US 05 as the yeast. Water was spring water with just a pinch of gypsum to punch through some of those hop flavors. And really what we're trying to figure out is, well, the question is that these Mecca Grade malts are a little more expensive. Is it worth the extra money? Does the heirloom barley that this farm have, does it bring more of a characteristic flavor to a simple beer like this? And I want to put a taste test in front of Mike and see if he can pick it out. So he has two beers. Two of these glasses in front of him are the same beer, and one is the different. So I guess the first test is, can he taste the different beer? Which ones are the same and which ones are different? Which one is different, I guess. And this time he's taking his time because the US 05 versus dry WLP 001, I guess he just went with his gut and he missed it. But now he's testing it, and this is what's showing me that there isn't much of a difference.
Yeah, so to answer your question, first question, no, the value proposition is not there, right? Because I'm splitting hairs here to find it.
Yep.
I think I can tell you which one's the odd beer out. Yep. I can't tell you with any certainty which would be which. I don't have any experience with Mecca Grade malts. But I think just from a profile standpoint, if you didn't even tell me what the differences were, I hope I get this right.
Me too.
But come on, man, you had enough time.
The bright lights are shining on you, friend.
This is the odd beer out.
You are correct, sir. Thank goodness.
Thank God.
Thank goodness.
Now, if I had to guess from what limited knowledge I have about the whole Mecca Grade, I would say that the odd beer out is the Mecca Grade because it seems to be a little bit richer, but trivially so.
Yep.
Trivially so.
Okay.
If there was any degree of specialty malt in the beers, right? If it wasn't just plain base malt, it would be totally lost. Like if you put some, for like American Pale Ale, if you were to put 15% Crystal 60 in these beers, it'd be game over, no difference whatsoever. It's because it's really splitting those hairs. And I think that's something we need to keep in mind whenever someone's talking about these things is you're really probably not going to ever really experience it this way and say, yeah, that's the one. Because it's subtle. I guess I would say, one more time. I guess I don't want to waste a lot of camera time. I guess that's the Mecca Grade.
Okay. Can I just say you're correct on both points?
Okay, great.
You're able to choose the one that was different. That is the in our right hand beer. Okay. And so the other thought that I was wondering, because according to the website, the Mecca Grade is 2.8 degrees love And of course, Rahr, according to the package, is somewhere in between 1.7 and 2.
Yeah.
So how much different is like a 0.8 to
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that could be just any difference in color from that standpoint.
Yeah.
It could just be boiled, just slightly different boil differences, right? So,
they were boiled at the same rate and at the same using the Brewzilla and all that stuff.
That's even more controlled.
Yeah.
So what do you think between the two?
I think that this one has a little bit more character. It's a little less grainy. This one has more of a grainy taste to me. This one's a little smoother, a little maltier. But like you said, degrees.
But that's because you're trying to describe it.
I'm trying.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, it's not explicitly, oh my gosh. Wow. It's not like this is, I don't even know if this would hold up, but it's not like this is Maris Otter and this is Pilsner Malt.
No,
I mean,
it's
they're
not. It's not like that.
You
No,
know, it's
no.
it's mildly different.
Yep. And that's really it. And I'm also being influenced by the description.
Sure, absolutely.
They say golden sweet and slightly biscuity for the Mecca Grade. Slightly biscuity. So.
Yeah, I guess that plays into my feeling that it's subtly more rich. But if I was trying to pick a base malt to build the beer around, right, and I was tasting these things, I'm not overwhelmed at it by any stretch of the imagination. It is almost identical to this. Almost identical.
So the question is, you were able to pick out the difference.
Yeah.
But that's just because you're a master taster. Seriously. You're doing okay in this video for sure. Don't watch other videos. No, just kidding. Just don't watch the other one. This one, you nailed it. But that means to me that there is a difference between the two.
Yeah.
But you're saying that if you were to put this in a grain bill that had more specialty malts,
It would be lost.
you wouldn't even be able to pick it out.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Standard American Pale Ale, if you were to try to replicate like a Sierra Nevada, with about 15 to 20% Crystal 60, that difference is, so yeah, maybe I'm a really good taster, but also just as a brewer and having brewed for so long too and playing with ingredients, the subtlety between these two base malts would be completely lost with more malt in it. If you want to do a smash beer and you think you want a little something else, then sure, go for it. But you know what? A dab of biscuit malt or whatever in this, you would never notice the difference.
I see.
I think. What do you think? Do you think?
I'm trying to get you to say it's not worth the extra money.
Oh, it's definitely not. Yep. No, definitely
Mike
not.
said that. No, I'm
Definitely not.
So,
I also have a chronic, like, I understand marketing. I understand why we do these things. Branding is important. I get it.
Yep.
But I guess like hobby-wise, even like homebrew industry-wise, even all of your favorite pundits, a lot of your magazine articles will just say like Mecca Grade, right? But if I told you, yeah, I made this with Mecca Grade, this or that, I mean, that doesn't tell me what the malt is. Like people will refer to this stuff by the branding, but that doesn't, is Mecca Grade malt like a Munich? Is it a crystal? Is it a base? There's no description in the word Mecca Grade, which is why we use terms like pale malt, pale ale malt, Munich malt, crystal malt, right? Those as the prominent name. Mecca Grade is just a branding term, but it actually doesn't tell me, is this a base malt? Is it a roasted base malt? Is it doesn't tell me anything. Mm-hmm. And so, but you see and you hear in podcasts, you see in print, people just like throw that around. It's almost a little bit snooty in a way, like, oh, Mecca Grade malts. And even that name, like Mecca Grade, it's right.
Makes me
so
think
I
it's
get it.
great.
I get it.
Yeah.
But from a practical standpoint, I think it's not actually giving me the information I need. Like when you see in magazines, one of the ingredients is Munich malt. Well, Munich malt comes in about 15 different colors. So you can't just sit here and say Munich malt. You have to tell me, is it Weirmann? Is it Brace? Is it whatever? So even the best magazines, they do it that way. They just put, so I'm just saying that, I think that Mecca Grade as a branding tool is fine for brewers if you're interested in going and looking for it. But I think our hobby struggles with the fact that we've all gone goo-goo over like really expensive equipment. And then now we're throwing things like Mecca Grade branding into our malting. No wonder why people have a hard time coming into this hobby, right? Because there's a group of us who we understand the difference between 304 and 316 stainless steel and this or that, right? But that's pretty like exclusionary for everyone who wants to sort of get into the hobby. Anyway, sorry, rant over.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, this was, again, years in the making. We finally got time to make a beer, or make two beers, to compare these malts. The conclusion is that, yeah, there's a little bit of difference. Probably wouldn't make a difference in a more complex grain bill. Is it worth the extra dough per pound? Hey, that's up to you. If you feel like you want to say that you brewed with Mecca Grade malts, go right ahead. I think sometimes, when I start dreaming up recipes, sometimes those little details, they're important to me. Like, I want to try this because
it feels good when you're working it out on paper.
Right.
I often wonder after I make the beer, did that make a difference? Did it, right? I mean, in this example, it really.
Oh, I make it. I
yeah,
say, oh, yes.
right. We're all
yes. My brain says yes. Look what I did.
Implicit bias. Yep.
Because I bought that. Anyway, I hope you appreciate this comparison. We did it for the dash. It's what connects us all as home brewers. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.